that means you are making 31.63% on this $13,920 that you put up to buy this house. You put up that money, and in roughly 3.5 years, you're getting all that cash back, and then you'll have nothing left in the deal of your own money. That's a pretty good return, a 3-year return. And that's just on cash flow. That's not including the rest of these things that I'm about to talk about. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I analyze a deal before I even go and do a walkthrough. This is the first step that I do. I usually use Realtor.com. I check this almost daily. So I found an example here of something typical that I would buy. This is just a single family, 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, about 1,200 square feet. Like I said, this is typical to what I would buy. And I'm actually going to go do a walkthrough, a tour of this, but I'm going to show you exactly what I do to run the numbers to make sure it's even worth going to look at. So once you find a house here, so this is, I'm going to say $60,000 asking price. I'm going to go to the county site. This is all public information. Every county has one. You can find a whole bunch of information here. How much the taxes are, what the assessment is, the market value, who owned it, a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm going to just run a report here, and this is just a convenient way to get all the information. So this one has us assessed at $30,000, which is very low, which is good for taxes. So that's a plus already. It tells you the square feet of each level, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, so on and so forth, all the previous sales. But what I'm looking for right now is the taxes, which is down here. So I'm just going to take 2023's taxes because 2024 hasn't been put out yet. So this is what I'm going to get for my total tax. I'm not going to do cents. I'm just going to keep the dollars just for ease. 202. Okay. So this is the amount of taxes per year, this property. So I'm going to bring up the spreadsheet. This spreadsheet I did not create, so I cannot take credit for it. If I can find where I got it, I'll put a link in the description box. But this is, you could make this yourself. It's just some formulas in an Excel sheet. So anyways, so we're going to put, first I usually run the numbers at asking price to see if it works there. Sellers will usually take 10% less than their asking price. I mean, people usually list their house at 10% more than they actually want to get for it. So that's typically what I do. But I'm going to put $60,000 in here for asking. Cost to make rent ready. I'm just going to put nothing for now. I don't know what it needs till I walk through it. Closing costs are usually around 4%, so I'm going to use that. The loans that I get, I always have to put 20% down, and they are 20-year loans, and the interest rate right now is about 8%. So you can see here, you're going to have $48,000 balance of a loan that you're taking out, and here's the capital required. It's $13,920. Rents for this, I'm going to guess I can probably get $1,300 a month in this area for that house. Potentially maybe a little bit more, but I'll do worst case scenario here. Utilities, the tenant will pay, so I put nothing there. For vacancy, I always do about 1 month's rent. So essentially the tenant can move out. It'll take, roughly a month to get that cleaned up, get somebody else in there. So I'm losing 1 month per year is what I'm allowing for. And, hopefully you don't have any. But like I said, this is worst case scenario that you want to run to make sure the numbers will work at the worst case scenario. Maintenance, I put 5% for each property, unless I did a burr and I redid the entire house and everything's new, I might put a little bit less. On the flip side, if it's a pretty rough house, I might put more, but typically I do 5%. Management fees, always 10%. Like I said, utilities, nothing, no additional expenses. Insurance is usually around $500 for me, and then this is where I'm going to put that tax amount. So there's the tax amount. So these are the final numbers you're getting. NOI, or net operating income, is $9,220, and that is simply your gross income from rents minus your expenses. And as you can see here, we have a cash flow of $4,403. If you care about this, it's 28% margin. I don't ever look at that. The most important thing for me here is this cash on cash return. I look for 25% cash on cash return minimum. If this doesn't hit 25%, I don't even go and look at it. So this is 31, as you can see. So this is definitely a deal I would buy, and that's at full asking. If I were to offer 10% more, if I were to offer 10% less, that would be $54,000. And as you can see, that bumps it up to almost 39% cash on cash return. But let's go back to 60. All right. So as you can see, cash flow is $4,400 a year, which is a 31.63% cash on cash return. That means you are making 31.63% on this $13,920 that you put up to buy this house. You put up that money, and in roughly 3.5 years, you're getting all that cash back, and then you'll have nothing left in the deal of your own money. That's a pretty good return, a 3-year return. And that's just on cash flow. That's not including the rest of these things that I'm about to talk about. Obviously, you have a mortgage. This principal paydown is the amount of principal on your mortgage that gets paid down every year. And that is, the tenant is essentially paying that for you. That's not included in this 31% return. This is extra. So you're getting that return on your money left over every single month after all these expenses over here on the left. And they're also paying $1,000 a year on your principal. On top of that, you get this tax exposure from depreciation write-off. So that's almost $300 if you're in a 15% bracket. So you would adjust this to whatever you're in. So your total cash flow, or your total return, accounting for all of this, is $5,700, which is a 41% return. I don't typically look at this number as much because I know it's going to be higher. Like I said, this cash on cash return is what I look for. So for me, as long as at full asking price, this is at least 25% cash on cash return, I'm good with it. And I'll go and look at the house, and sometimes I'll have to come back here and adjust certain things, like, maybe it needs a little bit of work. Then I've got to change this cost ready. Maybe it needs new floors. So, I don't know, $4,000 to make it rent ready. That's going to put me just under 25%. So in this case, if that were the case, I would not be able to pay them $60,000. I would maybe be able to pay, let's see, 58. Yep, that does it. Let's just see, 59. Yeah, so about $59,000 is as much as I could pay them if I needed to put $4,000 into the house. So yeah, that is how I analyze these properties right off the bat. And then, whatever I think I've got to put into it, I just put this number in here, and then I adjust for it in the cost of the property. I always try and get the property for, like I said, 10% less than asking anyways. If push comes to shove, I'm willing to pay $59,000 for this if I had to put $4,000 into it. So yeah, that's essentially how I do it. You can go to this amortization tab, and this will tell you your amortization schedule here, and you can go through this if you care. Before I end this video, I'd like to leave you some closing thoughts. The numbers in this spreadsheet are just my parameters. They're what I've set and what I want to get for a property. Your numbers might be different depending on your situation. One thing to know is I am in a cash flow market. I am in a very low appreciating market. That means the property prices do not go up very much. The property prices are low and rent is relatively high in this area, and that means I can get good cash flow return. If you happen to be in an up and coming area or some other market that has high appreciation, you're going to expect lower cash on cash return. That's just how it works. The property prices are going to be higher, so just note that and adjust accordingly. Do some analysis of your own on some properties that you have found. Go out, do a showing, adjust, and make an offer, and get your first rental or increase your portfolio. I hope you found this video useful. Please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.